decided to not play either, and they ended up losing. To me, that was the most baffling decision yet that I've seen out of this team. You gotta play the meta if it's available, because it's so free. Like, if you run both of those heroes, your Vanguard line should theoretically be in a much better spot. I mean, obviously, you know, they're scrimming and they've got their decision and who they like the most, but not running that, it seemed to bite them. So we do see the lock in here, as they are going to lock in Mag, so likely we'll see that. Actually, excuse me, that's on the side of Shroud X, but curious to see what they'll do here for Nemesis.
Yeah, Nemesis focusing on protecting that Ultron, which I know I believe in the Asia region, I think we saw a lot of Ultron alongside Mantis Dive and stuff. It definitely can be viable in the right composition. Meanwhile, Shroud X prioritizing getting rid of Mello on that Human Torch, which, to be fair, I mean, that is fair. Like, he is one of the best Human Torch players, if not the best, in the North American region. I mean, we talk about Speedily, we talk about some other teams. It does feel like a lot of teams have their identity, and Nemesis definitely is playing around Mello. I mean, what did it already say? Brightest in the sky, so Mello is definitely him if he... but bans coming through from Nemesis, going for that Punisher on their side. Wolverine ban as well for Shroud X. A lot of teams prioritizing that hero. Envy as well, another team that does not like playing against Wolverine.
Yeah, see, this is where I'm a little curious. You see Shroud X banning, you know, the AMER. They didn't run it last time, so it's almost like, is that worth a ban? But then again, have they been scrimming and practicing it? That's decisions that those coaches are making, where, you know, it gets really crucial. And a one ban, you know, we've seen it here. If you miss a single ban, for some reason, the percentage goes heavily towards the opposition. So even if you make a slight ban mistake, which we've seen from some of these teams like Ego Death, who said, you know, if they ban Panther, that's fine. That is a free ban for us that they're forced to ban out in order to stop one of our talent. So using that as an advantage is just how deep that this strategy goes with the banning phase.
Right. Yeah. I mean, there's so much that goes into it. I mean, I mentioned Trust Me earlier, but the fact that you kind of have, I mean, you don't have to, but I think it's a good idea to watch every region, kind of see what is best across the board, because the more top level Marvel Rivals you're watching, I think the better off you'll be, even if you don't agree with, you know, the compositions being played in other regions. So Captain America getting removed for Shroud X, like you mentioned, don't have to play against a lot of that fast divey compositions, allow a lot of space for Doom, but you do allow triple res to kind of be played on the Shroud X side, whereas Team Nemesis are not. You know, they don't have that available. They can play triple heal with the Ultron alongside a Mantis and maybe another healer, but no triple res available. We did see quad res earlier as well, Shib, I believe, in EMEA. We saw like Rocket Raccoon triple res, which is just disgusting. It's like the zombie comp ×4. It's brutal.
Yeah, that is really difficult. It's the mental processes of when you see the kill feed or the KO feed, excuse me, pop up, and you're like, you know, I got one. Let's keep going. We're ahead, and then you find out that you're not, and then the next 3 picks in a row, it's a similar story. Nothing's changed. And you know what I mean? You keep thinking you're ahead, and you try to play a little too aggressively, you overcommit, and every single res just bites you. So that quadra res is insane. But you can see here, people are believing in Nemesis with 60% on the betting phase, and Shroud X at 40.
Shib, so what did we all predict today? Just going back to it, I just want to kind of scroll up in our little Discord call we have. I believe what? So you predicted on the opposite side, Team Nemesis to win. In what fashion?
I said 3-2. I said 3-2 as I think Shroud X, the only reason I had that, I think Shroud X is an incredible team. I think they just struggle right at the end. It seems like they get to the finish line and they can't cross it. So that's the reason I put it that way. I'm happy in either side. I think you went the opposite way, huh?
Yeah, I got Shroud X 3-2. I don't know. I'm just going to believe in them a little bit. Meanwhile, Penny, oh my God, they did. They're trying to counter portal with the Penny Parker mines, but it's avoided on the opposite side with that Moon Knight. But that portal's still here to kind of jump through. But yeah, I think Vicky Kitty's got Nemesis 3-1, and then Cozy said SDX actually 3-2. So we're split half and half. Scatter, though, just splits Vision in half, removes him from the lobby right now. Namor back to the spawn.
Yeah, it's a good early advantage here for Nemesis. Nobody on the point yet. Actually, Shroud X slowly gaining here, but they're forcing them off this angle. And again, Scatter onto Nuck, Amadian onto Fidel, and that is a 3-swing advantage. Nemesis should be able to get point here and make that 5 as they press in. Nemesis with the early take.
Yeah, early take indeed. I mean, that was well played by Nemesis, surrounded that point, really just also put Mello onto that Psylocke. So just having him on that sort of hard carry role alongside the Captain America dives, through having also that Ultron. I mean, the survivability of this team is just unmatched, right? They just have the Ultron to keep people alive. They have Captain America, Freedom Charge, right? You got 4 different Stratos Ultimates to kind of stay alive alongside the survivability that Psylocke has. Shroud X on the opposite side have a giant whale. So, you know, we'll see how that kind of comes through when that ultimate is built, though. Doom on that Winter Soldier. You know, we've seen Bucky's pop off before, and Shroud X can definitely play around that hero alongside the Doctor Strange very well.
And the space is taken. Bagamoto is huge there on the backline. Scatter trying to find a few, but no. Goes against. Dongmin's going to take out Scatter. The good idea there, you can actually use that vertical momentum from Strange to surprise with the eye. Actually use it to try to hit a ceiling and actually propel you forward. So you see that there, but a great turnaround by the team. Mello going to find Vision, though, to even the odds a little bit as numbers are even. But like we said, it's all about just stalling on the point now. It's all about Nemesis just holding on for as long as possible. Out goes that Kraken impact here from Doom. Not able to clean up anyone and reset just yet, but they do have the space on the point.
Yeah, controlling that space. Bagamoto committed again, but doesn't look like it connects too well on that side either. So Shroud X trying to kind of claim that point. Nemesis already 70% built. They also commit the Freedom Charge. Look at the sustain that they have currently. Shroud X waiting for these ultimates to be over.
Yeah, it's a tough look right now. I mean, they're just holding on. Vision, nice whale there as down goes Dinks. It's evened out again. Numbers are even. Alt advantage on the side of Impunity, who does choose to utilize it, looking for some more value. Great lockdown, good follow-up. Nice play there by Impunity, trying to get someone out the sky, too, potentially making it a two-piece. And yes, it is. Impunity getting a ton of value and then locking down another. Make that three. Impunity, just a monster here. And finally, the retake, but 85% on the side of Nemesis, a little scary.
Yeah, I mean, talk about a monster Hulk. That was disgusting from Impunity. And, you know, I think this character definitely underrated by a lot of people in ranked queues. It can be one of the strongest tanks in the game, especially as a current Psylocke OTP. I hate playing against Hulk and how fast he is, right? They're one of the most mobile vanguards in the games. Could just kind of chase you down like a horror villain. And right now, Shroud X surrounding the point. They do have objective, but no ultimates. Guess who's got the ult as well? It's Mello. Maybe they'll try to force out greens early from that Loki.
Yeah, a little known fact about Hulk, especially as you're climbing ladder, you can actually left click and right click at the same time. It'll animation cancel and count both sets of damage. So it's a really strong burst potential when someone's in your face and you try to get the tackle out of the sky after the fact. Here we go again with Doom down the right side. Mello gonna find two with an early take there for Nemesis. Make that three, make that four. As Mello just on a rampage, followed up by a Madian to clean up the rest, and that could be enough to slow them and stop them. I think they need roughly almost 9 or 10% to get to the point. I don't think they can.
Nope, more than likely, unless they have somebody staggered on over. We're going after that round. Cradle done. Shroud X sent down a single round in Krakoa. And that's what we're talking about. We got to look towards that Loki, right? And this is the tough part about using cooldown super early. Or sorry, the Grove is the first one to go to. Now we're going to Cradle next. And for Shroud X, it's tough because you know, they're playing back and they just want to sustain, but then they just get, you know, too much poke, and then Nuck is forced to use those crystals, and then after that, I mean, you just have an immediate engage from the Dance of the Butterflies from Mello. The real solution there, I don't know, I mean, you could probably use those greens, but I mean, Impunity, I think the death sentence, the nail in the coffin there for SDX was, you know, Impunity using that lockdown. You gotta sort of, it's tough, but you have to sort of lock down that Psylocke with that stun that's available, or on the freeze on the Luna Snow. That's the only real way they can win this. Maybe they can get that one shot on the Psylocke, but there's a lot of different ways to shut it down. It's just very, very difficult, especially after you use such a strong ability like Loki's Shift. Now we're going to the next round, though. Cradle, I'm curious to see how Shroud X do here.
Yeah, I think we need to see, you know, the momentum shift, right? Shroud X, they started showing up, but it was just too late. I think if you try to take the point over at roughly that was 85%, at that point you lose one fight and you're doomed unless you can get a teleport back quickly. Just didn't have the time for it. Dun-dun-dunch. But they are going to take the space on both sides. Double teleport off the rip here. It's all a battle now. Shroud X doubled up on ultimate, soon to have 3. We'll have slight advantage, but we do have that Eternal Bond popped immediately here by Dinks to take over this space and just go directly, actually pretty aggressively. Oh, the whale to try to counteract, and it does. Vision, incredibly smart play. What a whale to drop Dinks and counteract. That's a ton of value there, as we are going to have to see Ricky now use that dance floor as well, and it does force out a ton. That's a great play from Shroud X. Can they capitalize? Out goes Dongmin, and he's going to find some value again on Madian, and Shroud X looking really good off the rip here.
Yeah, looking good, really good indeed. I mean, the ultimate's committed by Nemesis. They'll have to try to find those eliminations. But I think it was Nuck in the copy on the Luna Snow, got the freeze on the scatter. Now finally gets an eye of Bagamoto, but it's into so many cooldowns. The bubbles, the shift usage. The Doom does go down, but Vision's on this Namor with all these squids, just able to get so much damage on the Nemesis who are staggering in. Dance of the Butterflies committed, but you have the Hulk bubbles to stay alive.
And it's a long time coming. I would think Shroud actually have point. They finally are able to grab it here. Now at only at 5%. Wasn't able to grab it that whole time. So great hold there by Nemesis. And they, you know, they are going to force a little bit of a stagger if they can clean them up. A great retake on positioning. They will drop back. You notice they just don't want to stagger, right? So they saw they finally lost point. They committed together, drop back as a 3 stack, and just to meet the other 3 and fight again as 6. Make sure as you're climbing ladder, you don't try to use your ult to 1v5. It's just never going to work. 1v6. Make sure you're retaking together as a unit. As we see Nemesis here with actually they're going to be under ult. Shroud X did a great job in that last fight with patience, holding on to ults as they do copy up here with Nuck. And Doom gonna pop that ult onto the back line. Out goes the dance, and the whale comes in. Doom gonna find Mellow. Good combination there.
Yeah, I mean that was tough. I mean with the dance of the butterflies forces everybody together into the Stratus ultimate, and then or rather into the storm dagger storm on the inside. And because everybody's grouped up, that just they get met by the whale. So yeah, I mean fantastic work from Shroud X, who's playing phenomenally this map, and Team Nemesis. They have to come back now. Maybe Mellow, once we figure out what's happening on a screen, you know, in the background of his camera, we'll see what the comeback potential is for Team Nemesis here.
Yeah, I mean, Shroud X doing what they need to do here. Like, you can see every single ult, slightly up in ults, not overcommitting. They used 2 there and got the win and held on to the double Vanguard. Impunity found a ton of value with that last hook ultimate. Can he do it again? And then Dongmin hold on to that eye, looking towards the back line. Not horrendous to use it on something like Ultron, who has a tough time escaping as we push forward onto this 3rd fight. Good, forcing their whole team back into that corner now. Great retake and positioning, using that natural cover. Mellow trying to get the trade, tracking through the invis. Incredibly well done.
Yeah, I mean, Mellow has been an incredibly versatile player for Nemesis. They also have ultimates available. So does Shroud X, though. Oh, Terror Cape as well coming out. Scatter's falling solo, needing Dink's ultimate to rematch or to match this fight.
Vision finds Craze early, and that is a huge start again. Shroud X are roughly even on ults. We do see the dance floor. Out goes the eye of Agamotto. Not able to find too much battle. Mellow finds Nuck in the back, though, and that is a huge pick as Scatter finds Vision. But once again, 99% on the first hold here for Shroud X will allow them to make this a 1-fight territory. Mellow finding Fidel at this point. You fall on the point as a team, and you retake together as Ricky takes out Dongmin.
Yeah, I mean, you could say overcommitment of ultimates, but in this game, in Marvel Rivals, you just build ults so quickly. So into the upcoming fight, they'll be able to build those back up. But for Shroud X, that's a fight lost using their one of their Shroud X ultimates. They do have Nuck and the copy and the whale for this upcoming fight. So if they do something similar to they did earlier, somehow force everybody around Dinks when he commits the storm, then maybe they can find an elimination with this whale.
Okay, and we go again. The retake, Vision and Nuck holding on here. Soon to have ultimate here for Dongmin, and we'll be close in this next fight. Scatter and Craze. Craze gonna pop that out early. Run around the team, keep the team healthy. It's essentially a strategist ultimate. The whale is huge, but great bubble. Insane bubble there by Scatter. Keep the team healthy. Dinks does find 1. Nemesis down 1 in number. The dunk goes out. Scatter cleans it up onto Fidel. Very low on HP, but great retake. Great utilization of cooldowns to stay up and healthy. And that's a good trade. Vision onto Mellow. That's a massive pick as Shroud X wants to clinch this W right now. Tries to shield off there. As you can see, Strange, one of the things you can do with Strange shield is you can actually block things like Luna's ultimate, but you can also block heals, so don't be afraid to stick behind somebody you're trying to focus and just put that shield up. Dongmin, Vision gonna take out Ricky, and this looks like Shroud X might get the job done here and take home map 2. We'll find out shortly as they keep the pressure.
I mean, Fidel goes down. I mean, they try to come back and peel. Nuts on the hype, but he's kind of dealt with. Here comes another dance of the butterflies towards the point. Doom trying to equalize things. Can he? Everybody's so low, and it's, as you said, Shroud get it done on Cradle. We're all tied up now.
That was a bit of a C9 situation there. Jumped up too high, I think, but you know, it looked like odds were in the favor of Shroud X, but almost a complete like turnaround there. It looked like they had used ult successfully on both sides, but then, you know, great work there on the side of Doom to get a couple picks and to force them off the point.
Yeah, I mean, it can't be stressed enough right now. I mean, we are in the final stages of Ignite Series in Stage 1. Lower bracket matchup between these two teams. And this is the highest level of Marvel Rivals that we've seen ever, right? I mean, in general, I mean, now we're reaching the peak of this game again at the competitive scene right now. Top 8 teams in the entire tournament, top 8 teams in all of North America, right? I mean, we have MRC going on right now behind the scenes, so shout out to every team competing in MRC, but for all these Ignite teams, these are definitely, you know, cream of the crop teams in both Shroud X and Team Nemesis. You know, they don't want to go out right now of the Ignite Series. Both of them want to qualify for LAN.
All right, and here we go again with the final map of game one. Who will take this home? Alt advantage slightly in the favor of Shroud X, who have more alt charge, but this is going to be a held point one. We talk about the initial fight. If you can get point early and hold on for as long as possible, but it's now heavily in your favor, because if you turn into one fight territory for you to just take the dub home, it's a whole new game. But like we said, it's all about just snowballing off that first point. Mello trying to find an off angle, forcing away, really good positioning and understanding of cooldowns. You'll see that dash not used for KOs for the most part, and typically used for repositioning and hiding, as we see the initiation now scatter in back and forth dance floors from Ricky and Nuck on the copy, and we'll see who's able to push through. The whale goes out. Can they follow up? Terror Cape to keep the team healthy. It is actually launched out to do some damage amplification, and it's back and forth again.
It's back and forth indeed, and right now you have that Namor pressure. Dongman able to take out Krasmang as well through those Namor squids, through that Gamma squid, and all of them are pressed out. Here's the Agamotto connects on the both backline, but they're sort of alive. Nope, deleted yet again by Shroud X. And also, by the way, side topic, that video thing in the background that says Ultimate Guide, that's apparently a reference to Arex Gaming, the Marvel Rivals Ultimate Beginner's Guide, Tips and Tricks. I'll have to watch that video later and see if I actually learn anything. More than likely, probably not.
It's pretty funny. You gotta show some love to the eye, but Bruce Bannerman, a pick there from Bruce, is hysterical. I gotta love to see that. Bruce Main, and that is on the side of Impunity, who found one as Bruce in that fight is ready to transform back now to Hulk. So great work there. Bruce can be threatening, you can be threatened if you leave him alone. You want to leave him in that form for as long as possible, but it can be tricky, especially if you find some value. Crazy Man gonna start making some plays here and dive up onto Nuck with great positioning. Loki, you gotta burn those clones, everybody. You got a vision onto Dinks now. Nuck takes out a second. Here comes the eye. Is it an overcommitment? Oh no, he's doomed. Yes, it is. Excuse me. Finds another, and so does Vision again, and they're way up, and they use an ultimate. Shroud X looking to be in a really good position, as they will already be at 50%.
Yeah, this is what Moxie was talking about when she was part of Nightmare before they entered the tournament. She's like, you can't not play Loki, and that's the difficult factor. Now they're going over to Loki off of that Cloak and Dagger, and it's exactly as you said, Shiv. I mean, all of those clones on the height, you have invulnerability as well with the ship. There's so many things Loki provides as well as an ultimate of your choice, and usually that's the Lunasto dance floor. So it's the best of both worlds, and right now the fate of the worlds is in Shroud X's hands. 70% of the board. Closing out a Nemesis would be massive in game number one.
All right, ults up for Nemesis. Here comes Ultron. Will he find value with the Rage? And they don't need it, as Doom finds Mello early. In the opposite direction. Shroud X starting again with an early pick, even being down ultimates, forcing the team to retake once more at 90%. It's all about the touch of the teleport now, as they're shoved back to the spawn door, and they may not be able to get out of here.
They're trying to back on out. So much pressure coming through, like you mentioned. 96% of the board, you have to touch with somebody. Mello also has ultimate ready to go, but it can be met by the greens from the Loki.
Yeah, good final touch there, 99. Good placement, but Doomed immediately taking out Craze again. Scatter onto Dongman, traded right back. Numbers evened out. Mello looking to have some off angles, and there is the dance floor again, stalling on a point. It looks like Nemesis do a great job on retaking there. Looked a little threatening. Ooh, we are going to pop out immediately. Will it be worth it through the dance floor? Not quite yet.
Yeah, not quite yet. You did get greens out. Also, oh my god, a median fall so low in the whale. Alongside Doomed, Impunity's able to connect on two. Nemesis could be done here.
Hey, they can force out enough cooldowns. Vision's gonna take out Scatter. Impunity on a Mello again, and this Hulk is getting so much value now. Gonna just slam Cap into the ground, looking like Loki from the Avengers. Will they be able to clean it up? No, the dance floor is out to keep him up and healthy, but Craze very low, running forward to make sure he doesn't get KO'd, and he does, and that's gonna do it. Shroud X taking map one.
Didn't matter how much sustain it felt like Nemesis had. Shroud X just had the overall team synergy and the damage potential as well. I mean, we saw every single whale just created space for Doomed to find an elimination, who played so well on Psylocke. It didn't feel like the damage was really there on the opposite side, and pretty much a pretty easy MVP for Vision. I think on the Namor, he did an amazing job alongside that Loki. There was just so much pressure. I mean, you have those Loki clones, like you mentioned, Shib, alongside 3 squids coming from the Namor. So it's a lot of, I don't know, player versus environment. There's a lot of PvE going on. Yeah, there's a lot of extracurriculars you have to do to take the point.
Yeah, the entirety of Shroud X looked really good after map one. Map one looked rough, right? They were struggling, they lost, they overcommitted some ultimates, it just didn't go in their favor. And then from then on, they were clinical. They started the fights, they won the initial fight, even being down alts in one of the maps. They held on and then even forced a final point or a final touch. No matter what, it was only one opportunity, so they just had to win one more, and they were able to do that. Vision with 14 finals, and then you look over at Doomed with 12. Both the duelist line looking great. Impunity on that Hulk with 8, but Mello switching over to Strange at the end. Mello looked really good with 13, but just not enough. Scatter at 9 as well.
Yeah, tough game from Team Nemesis, but this is what we talk about with Yoki. I mean, like, it's just domination. Definitely hard to fully blame teams for losing on these maps. I think because there's not like too much time in the time bank. There's a lot of different, points. I think this is one of the better domination maps personally. I just think that it's well built. But regardless, for Shroud X, I mean, what a comeback as well along the Namor. And we saw Namor do good on this map prior, I believe, right? When we saw it was Envy versus FlyQuest. That was the first map of the day, and we saw Namor also do well on that map. So could just be a very good map and strong map for that character alongside the Loki. So right now, Shroud X definitely had a big advantage, but we know Nemesis on the opposite side in the banning phases, they target ban, and hopefully for their sake they don't overthink it like they did versus Ego Death when they banned out the Black Panther, or they didn't ban out the Black Panther in the map number 3.
Yeah, I'm with you. The equipment was just too overwhelming. I think if you run Loki and you have those squids from Vision's Namor here, you throw them in off locations, especially like you're talking about that Cradle map, the second map, where there's just a lot of locations to put those squids on obscure, and they have great lines of sight. So they're obscure spots on weird pillars that are tough to focus and just kind of out of LOS, but they have a ton of vision on the entirety of the map and getting a ton of value there. 27 and 5, 26k damage, topping the charts on damage with Namor. Still very much in the conversation for the meta we've seen a few times today.
Yeah, this character's still pretty damn good, and especially with the changes, he's been oppressive at points for sure, Shib. You're right. And Vision, I think this is a better hero for him as well. I mean, I'm not going to say like Namor's the easiest character in the game, because he's definitely tough in terms of positioning and all that stuff, but it definitely makes it a lot easier when you just throw out a squid and all you have to do is hit a right click and let the squids kind of pop off, right? So it takes the pressure off on you a little bit in terms of a very high stress situation that is the Ignite series.
For sure. Still some good leading. It is projectile, right, with those tridents, so it is, a little tricky, but yes, you're right. Obviously, does allow you to get a ton of eliminations when you can get those free hits there from the squids. But the value a lot of the time, I feel now, especially this level play, is forcing eyes in different directions. If you are a strong Namor, you're putting these squids in obscure locations that, they've been practicing. They've been understanding locations that have the best LOSs. They've been going in these lobbies and figuring things out prior to matches, and it clearly worked out well there, especially with Loki equipment on the field. And we are going to see more of this, potentially the ban out. It'd be strange if we saw the Namor ban, but it could happen right after this break. Welcome back, everyone, as we witness Shroud X step up after that initial map, struggling a little bit, and then just dominating in the next two, looking really clean and consistent, always coming up on top.
Yeah, Shroud X right now I think are looking good, but we've seen teams kind of fall off based on the first two maps. That doesn't really dictate the full series. That's why we're in the best out of 5, and that's why a lot of teams I think like to look past domination and use it sort of like as a benchmark almost, right, Shib? Like you kind of figure out what to ban and protect in the next map.
Sure, you identify problems and you eliminate the problems, right? Like that is the goal here. I mean, we gotta show love, which I didn't do last time. It's crazy. You look at Nuck and Fidel, both at 36k healing, only 300 HP difference, which really obviously showcases the power of those two in the back line. And then, a Ricky, Amadian, and Dinks obviously running a triple strap comp, obviously not going to be able to get as much healing, sitting around 24, 15, and 28. So well done by the back line there. We're showing a lot of love to the duelists. Gotta bring it back to the strats as we head into the banning phase of map 2 on Araco.
All right, Emma Torch banned out first. We got a Protect of the Ultron coming out for Team Nemesis, which is interesting because I don't even know if Shroud X necessarily struggled with that in the last map, but I can see why a team would want to play around that character so hard, and they have a little bit of flexibility in terms of what they want to play. Maybe it doesn't also, it's a bit ambiguous, right? Whether or not you're going to play like a Mantis with it or something, or triple Shredidus with an Adam Warlock backline. But we'll see what the bans kind of come out through. Obviously, they don't want to play against Human Torch. It's a good idea, just considering how good Team Nemesis are around playing that. Who a team that played well around this Storm, which is being hovered from Ricky, was Envy that we just saw. So I'd be curious to see if they play that. Both teams I know don't want to play against Wolverine. So gonna get removed, and Punisher again, I think, for Nemesis. I think they did this in the last map as well, right, Shib?
Yeah, and you may be asking, you talked about the Storm, why not the Jeff NATO? Jeff NATO, with a recent change, takes a little bit longer for them to be swallowed by Jeff, which is enough time for your team at this level, at least, to focus down that combination and try to eliminate it prior to getting eaten and then obviously KO'd. So it's a little bit of a change that seemingly now is enough for these pros to no longer want to run it.
You know, that Jeff's relatable, man. Maybe he's like acid reflux is the reason why that patch came through. You know, he's got to slow it down a little bit, take his time. Heartburn's a real thing.
Don't I know it, brother?
Yeah. Wait, how old is Jeff canonically? Do we know? I know it's a weird question. It's probably not going to get played, but
it's a good question. When you honestly, it depends on when they pull him. I mean, the origin of Jeff is a funny origin. Is actually, we talked about MODOK today. MODOK actually tried to make like aggressive land sharks, and then Jeff just happened to be like super kind and awesome, and then it was adopted by a ton of the different Marvel casts. But really cool, unique little backstory there. And MODOK, that would, like we talked about today, would be hysterical and a ton of fun in this game. Definitely hoping to see him.
I didn't know MODOK was the reason behind it. That would be funny. Just seeing a giant head float around, giant guy. Big old chin. That would be definitely funny. For Thor. Yeah, not sure how it would work either. I mean, it'd be like minus 80% damage to headshots or something. Like, unbelievably big headshot hitbox. But you know, MODOK may be relatable too. Giant cranium. I can relate to that. Somebody with
another thing that hits at home. Got one of those as well as we press forward to Araco. It seems like Krakoa and Araco back and forth. You know what I mean? Like, people really love these two maps, and I think that Araco, one of the things that we're seeing is it does favor that early hold, but also favors a divey comp with those teleports and off angles plays. We've seen some portal setup with turrets, with Punisher. We've seen some dive, more stuff with like Black Panther, who's been taken out a few times, and it just opens up the map for some crazy unique strategies. So I do love to see it. But look at these. Look at would you suspect this? Look at the channel point distribution here.
Climbing back up. Make sure to get your points in if you haven't. Get them channel points. And by the way, triple Vanguard composition on defense is definitely a play that we see a lot of the time. Is going to come out yet again versus the attack that is Team Nemesis, who are rocking out with the Squirrel Girl.
And off we go. We begin again. The Squirrel Girl coming out to help push through it. That is now a commonality on this map. Destroy the walls, destroy the shield, and then your team can do the rest. While you hopefully get the squirrels out at this level, you don't find a ton of value. We have seen a couple double KOs with the squirrels because they, especially at the right location, are very difficult to focus down while they're bouncing off walls. But, only, I believe 200 HP, maybe 300 HP. You got to focus those down when you see them out there on the field. It's got to be priority one, so you don't just sweep your back line. And here we go again as the team seemingly getting pushed back and not able to find a KO on either side.
And no KO necessarily to shed indeed until now. Dogman going to go down. Vision's a little bit too late to save him, but still out there getting a lot of damage down range onto that Loki and onto that back line.
Vision now not able to find much. Purchase there, and Median on this off angle. I love that positioning, just unloading the back line. And then we've got Scatter now waiting for this eye. This could be threatening, potentially jumping over that bridge, and here it is. Bang, out it goes as Scatter finds a pick. They used a ton there to figure out and find those KOs. A couple left as down goes Impunity, and there's only one now. Just going to stall on point and likely see a TP back. And there goes Fidel, and here comes the TP.
Yeah, good call on that one. 2 minutes and 42 seconds off the clock. Shroud X are going to come through on the top side this time and wait for everybody as Fidel respawns.
Looking for a location here. Yeah, exactly. Waiting for the respawn. That's another thing that these teams do well is you don't portal out early and then stagger in. Instead, you wait for the retake as a full team, and here comes the combination. Out goes the Strangling Prison. Dongmin finds Scatter, heading back towards Shroud X. Shroud X trying to get the job done now.
And that was a great engage. Huge ultimate from Impunity. Gets stunned up and also slowed by that Squirrel Girl, but they're down one at the current moment. Almost up to that Squirrel Girl ultimate as well, but the greens popped as well, committed by Shroud X there to kind of stay on this objective. Team Nemesis popping out the ultimate, actually going to cost him 18 his life.
Yeah, Impunity with a nice pick there again, finding more value. Vision gonna pop that Ultron's Rage. Dinks finds Dongman early, trading it right back. Numbers now evened out. Spawn gonna be heavily in the favor of Nemesis as they're closer here. Vision finds Craze again. Shroud X holding up just slightly ahead, and they are rotating here. The side they've swapped completely on positioning.
Yeah, the target focus of both teams has been a little bit off, but here comes that Eye Bakamoto. Doesn't even connect because everybody took the portal.
That was genius. That was really cool. I think there was also that cloak popped off there and managed to make them. Oh boy, but Shroud X following up right after that. What a swing play. Great work again as they cloak away from the eye and then sweep the entirety of the team back to the spawn door and retake positioning and are up in alt advantage. Shroud X looking really good on this defense with 1:13 on the clock.
Yep, 3 Vanguards, 3 strategists. Definitely a viable strategy on these first point holds, especially if you want to get a lot of fights. You know, similar to the old Goats composition. Speaking of Gator inclusion, the previous series, now Nemesis walking on forward. Less than a minute left to go. I mean, that's not a lot of time. Here comes a clobbering time.
Out goes Crystal's early clobbering time launched, but it does get counteracted here. The Squirrel Girl still being played here by Amadian. It may be a decision that may not work for them, but we'll see shortly. Out goes the Hurricane onto Nuck. Nuck with a great teleport helping to escape. Crazy finds Fidel. Out goes the Eye as well, and everything's being launched here. It's all about this final touch. Alt advantage now a moot point. It looks like Shroud X going to have Loki. Down goes Nuck as well. Can they get back in touch in time? They should be able to.
And they should be able to, but that's so much time off the bank for Team Nemesis. Although, you know, teams can snowball, especially towards the second and third phase of the maps. They got to close out right now, and not a lot of time in the bank definitely makes things a little bit worrisome for Team Nemesis.
And we will see the attack now. Amadian, that's where Squirrel Girl finds value. Those tight alleyways, and that is so much damage. Amadian, why, you were right. Finding 2 here with the Squirrel. Gonna try to clean up a few more. Yes, they do. That's a 3-piece. Can I see 4 as they clean up with the Thing? Beautiful play from Crazy and Amadian.
Yeah, Nuck, unfortunately, going to go down while in the middle of that ultimate. Get the copy onto Fidel. Try to go in with the Eternal Bond in the Cloak and Dagger copied form. But Amadian's nuts just kind of smacked them, right? Got him out of the lobby, sent them in back to the spawn doors. And right now, Nemesis push on forward to the second phase of the map. And we've talked about how teams, you know, tend to snowball in these phases of the maps. We'll see if they can do it again. And figuring what a snowball means is just kind of carrying that momentum, you know, kind of pushing forward, winning fight after fight after fight, using your ultimates to kind of maintain your sort of hypothetical momentum moving forward in the lobby.
Squirrel Girl mains are rejoicing, looking really good out here from the Amadian. Very tight alleyways. You just got to keep launching down those alleyways and get value, get that ult charge, and then use that ult whenever things are very tight in the tight team fight. There it is right there. Out go the Squirrels, but the dance floor is going to match it. Not able to find anything there from Doom. Doom going to have to reset. Impunity walling up, trying to slow down the pace here. Vision on the high side, going to throw on. Here comes the Eye of Agamotto, and it's huge, I believe. They follow up and take out Dinks. Mello trades with Fidel. Numbers even down, and here comes the Hurricane, and that's going to find a few as Domin goes down with the follow-up scatter onto Impunity. Well played again by Nemesis, who are now going to be taking this position. The dance floor to stall.
Well, it's interesting that they've decided to stick with the triple Vanguard, triple Stratus as well in the street phase of the map. Usually teams trying to switch off with this composition, so I'm curious to see if it'll pan out for them. A minute left to go. Nemesis getting another Storm ultimate very soon. Already 50%. Mello is building it so fast because he is just not missing and doing so much damage to these backlines and Vanguards.
Yeah, I think they're trying to use this damage onto the triple Vanguard to just fuel the strategists here, have a trillion ults, and just use them in nearly every fight if possible. And a great shield there to protect Impunity. Well done again by Doomed in positioning. Doomed, it's awesome to see the trade up here and have them on the Vanguard, but a Vision on the high side trying to find value. Storm in the sky, so hard to hit, but will he land it? Almost did. Is able to escape. And here comes Storm again. This is so rapid, so quick. Mello going to use it behind the enemy and walk towards the team. That is the strategy there with Storm. You do want to use that Hurricane and head back towards safety while you're sweeping through. Did a fair amount of damage, did force out some ultimates as Nuck and Doomed both in the sky. Doomed, can he land? Will be important. Bang! Down goes Ricky. Impunity on a Craze. Vision on the Mello. It looks like Scatter not able to make that meatball land either.
And not a lot of time left as well. Madian does have the Squirrel Girl ultimate, but at this point it might be too little too late. Scatter falls, as does Dinks. The Madian does take out Doomed. Portal play potential for Crash. I mean, they have a shot, but with overtime ticking down, it's cut real close.
Yeah, they're just trying to hold on here, shield up and body block. You got it. If you're on the other side, try to go through the other side of the portal. It'll actually kind of take them by surprise. If they're blocking one way, just head to the other side of the portal at where you've launched that, and you won't get blocked in. But they, as a team, are electing to try to press through with some damage. Down goes Mello. Vision trying to find a second. Good idea with the shots here. Great positioning. Ricky goes down. Vision going to clean that up, and that is going to be a hold here before point 2 for Shroud X.
Yeah, it's tough. I mean, that was actually such good fights by Shroud X right now for Nemesis. I'm curious what they do on defense. We might see something similar in terms of running that triple Shrouded composition, triple Vanguard composition. It's definitely viable out of that team, considering, you know, the hero pool that it's available, considering as well a lot of teams just like to do it on first point. But for Shroud X to stay on that composition, it looked so clean and smooth throughout the entire map. So for Shroud X, you know, sometimes you wonder, like, well, should they match that triple Vanguard? Should they match the triple strategist instead of switching to Squirrel Girl and stuff? And honestly, from how they played that Squirrel Girl composition, I'm not exactly excited for Team Nemesis propositions, I think, moving forward. Just because, I mean, I feel like usually we see triple Vanguard, you don't usually see a lot of picks. But for some reason, you know, there was eliminations found by Impunity by other members of this side on Shroud X on triple Vanguard. So that was just clean work from them, and honestly a little bit sloppy from Team Nemesis.
30 seconds before you
Yeah, it's tough, right? Because you're doing a ton of damage on the Squirrel, and you finding value. Honestly, they all had some value there, a couple early picks, but the survivability, it's difficult. You do have Escape with Squirrel. It's very vertical and very readable and understandable, especially when you have something on the opposition like that can handle the height and the pressure. And with triple Vanguard, you know, you're kind of just feeding that backline in those strategist ultimates. It's just, we saw it nearly every fight. They were ready to counteract, and I'm with you. I'm surprised they stuck with it on the side of Shroud X, but it definitely worked.
Now over to the attack, Shroud X. We'll see what they opt into running. It looks like we see Bucky coming out first alongside Groot and Doctor Strange. Shroud X actually pretty good around this Bucky composition around that Storm. Usually we see that Punisher. But for Nemesis, we're going to see them play that Ultron alongside the Namor and Hulk. So this is sort of a unique take on it. But we've seen Hulk and Namor do well, but it was for Shroud X. This time it's Nemesis running it.
Impunity owning the space already around this corner is a huge early take, not getting spawn held. Instead, they're already getting a ton of free location here. The all charges are roughly even across the board. It's a difficult hold. I do think it's very, you know, strong to hold that on spawn door and just waste time. They held almost 2 minutes there on the side of Shroud X on the defense, and now we do see the turnaround of Madian trying to get that ult quickly for Ultron up in the sky. Nuck at 95 with good positioning, clones out. They are going to try to match. As you see that teleport play, they're all up on that height there over the open location to the top left. You may have missed it. That is a good spot to set up Loki clones and just rain onto the backline. Nuck already has ult ready. Vision going to be holding up there trying to pull people into the hole. That is a really strong idea and composition for this map on this point.
Yeah, Cart's already pushing past halfway. Here comes that Eternal Bond, though, early on committed by Fidel. It's matched by that Fate of the Worlds on the other side, though.
And I loved that play there by Fidel, who does find a Madian, using that Eternal Bond to head towards a teleport and be ready to use it if need be. So smart, so well done, able to find a pick. Nemesis using every Q. Can they find value? Dunk. Scatter immediately going to take out one as Nuck goes down. Scatter for Vision onto Dinks there to even the odds a little bit, and that's going to be another for Vision, who's playing a mean Bucky right now. A Madian trying to get some value here on the side. Mello taking out Dongman, making the switch over as we see Craze and Mello now going to be running that Hulk Namor combination. And a Madian holding that off-angle pressure there with the Ultron. The turrets are out.
I don't know how he got that hook onto that Namor there, but meanwhile, pushed away by the Hulk, just bullied. I mean, oh my goodness, Visions, no reaction there. I mean, you do see him back in the Bruce Banner form at the very least, but that space was created by the Hulk, and right now they're just able to get back in the Hulk, Monster Hulk form. 2 minutes left to go. Shroud X, it's stopped, it looks like, for now, as Team Nemesis. I mean, it was a good spot there. I mean, Shroud committed that Hurricane. Doomed got support from Dongman, but it just didn't pan out after that, and right now Doomed is back switching over to the Hela. We've seen this composition played by 100 Thieves. This is the first time today we're seeing Shroud X play a very similar composition to that.
It's a difficult decision there when they leave Bruce after that, because I believe there could have been we didn't have eyes on it. Could have been a situation where he was in a safe location, whether he had some sort of support from his team, whether it was Loki crystals, but leaving Bruce there, he immediately gets ult back and just can transform without the KO time. So difficult. Maybe they just couldn't get the job done there, couldn't finish it up, but they are owning the space again, pressing forward, ult advantage, heavily on the side of Shroud X. They got to press Q quickly before the team catches up. Mello holding on to the whale. Well, that's been finding a ton of value over today as they keep the pressure on to Scatter. Craze with good positioning. Here comes that whale. Oh, what wow, that was an insane cloak.
Yeah, insane cloak indeed, and Vision's able to find two immediately. Scatter, though, tries to find the back line, gets Fidel in the sky. Impunity with the Strangling Prison doesn't necessarily connect, but it doesn't matter because the damage is already done on the high ground. He already had the early picks by Visions, though. Mello again, I mean, he's making things dicey. There's a chance here. The portal re-engage. 2 meters left to go. No! Don't touch the payload. We're entering the second phase of the map. It's probably the first time in a while Nemesis has touched grass. It didn't result in a positive emotion.
Oh, that's a tough look. I'm with you. I think it was just a little, you know, it was a timing thing, right? They may not even have the opportunity, but also just a location. They just slightly passed the point. So when they jumped out, it was actually kind of being blocked by the portal for the touch. So it was able to press through and get point. Now it's just, can they push through the next some odd meters? They need about, you know, almost 60, a little over 60 or 70 to get through and take home map 2. Shroud X looking to keep the pressure on. 4 ults available here. We got Fidel, Vision, Dongmin, and Doomed ready, where we have Dinks and Ricky, the strategist backline, ready for Nemesis to counteract.
Yeah, flying away from all of those squids in the backside. Hell is able to kind of dash on forward with the Crow, connecting with his ultimate as well. Mello doing such a good job harassing, but it doesn't matter. So much time left, or not enough time left on the clock for them to kind of get this hold, as Fidel found a mating early on with these Terror Capes. He's been huge for Shroud X.
Yeah, it's an early pick, but Midian goes down. Good idea there. Doomed. They're both playing the Hella. We haven't seen a lot of. Vision trying to get a pull, not able to get to the backline. Kraken Impact very much ready, and here's the combination. Can they make a play off it? Bang goes the Kraken, down goes Ricky. Can they follow up and clear more? Here comes the engagement. Down goes Scatter. Do I see more? Tries to find the invis, not able to make it happen there, but that it does get the reset. Excuse me. Now on the hook. Bang again. Vision trying to clinch this W and keep the pressure on. Out go Crystals. Will we see it? No. The reset's not going to happen. Still able to find a pick there on a Hulk.
Yeah, and then a portal, because they used it earlier. I mean, 2 meters left. You have Venom to touch a little bit longer. Ricky goes down. Impunity able to get onto both supports, and it's done. Shroud X go up 2 on Nemesis.
That looked really clean. Great combination. That group, Kraken Impact, still is so valuable. We've seen it twice today with a ton of turnaround. NK had a 5-piece there. We saw 3 right there. Well played by Team Shroud X to switch the composition up when need be and press through point 2.
Visions, I'm sure, celebrating after that one, and they look pretty good. I think this looks like a revived team right now, Shroud X, at the current moment. Up 2 on Team Nemesis, a team that people had favored to just win the tournament as well, like another top team that people had. But it feels like they've become not necessarily a shell of themselves, but have been struggling on these maps, especially against kind of more cheesy compositions per se. Like, I don't know if we've seen a lot of Bucky alongside Hella so far in this tournament. The only real team that plays a lot of that is like 100 Thieves. So I wonder how much Nemesis has been practicing against that team, against that composition, because I feel like usually we see a lot of Punisher. You know, we do see, I mean, Punisher got banned obviously on the opposite side, but I feel like we do see a lot of Storm alongside that composition. And for, it looks like SDX, they're playing like a sort of old-fashioned Hella Bucky combo, right? We don't see that too often, but it makes sense with how the bans have gone.
Yeah, bringing us back to season 1.5 a little bit here, as we do see that composition run. It looked really, really good. I mean, you know, when you're running that Bucky, it's all about just overloading abilities. Try to get that over health as much as possible, win engagements with your primary fire, and just throw everything you can and just have a trillion HP. That is the goal, and we saw it in spades there. We did see that combination with Strangling Prison, which is still so effective, as the team is just trying to use those walls to output extra damage, burst through some strategist ultimates, and it worked out so well there. Shroud X looked very, very strong. They said they don't want to let Shroud down here. They struggled a little bit in the Shroud Cup, and they want to bounce back now and get this W and press forward, and they are doing that.
I'm gonna need like I don't know, like an Italian chef skin for Bucky, because he just shoots meatballs, man. Like he just kind of pounds you from across the map, and there's nothing you can really do. Vision, MVP, well deserved. Obviously, the whole team played well around him, as well as having that Loki. I mean, just constant performance from, or constant pressure from their squad right now. And I'm curious what the comms are like for the opposite side, for Nemesis, because it does feel like their main strategy, which is put Mello on that Human Torch, it feels like it's just negated, right? They keep getting banned out. They banned out that Human Torch every single time, and it feels like we haven't seen Nemesis play at their full potential.
That's just smart coaching strategy, right? Like, you try to find stuff that's going to work, and there's a lot of information we aren't seeing behind the scenes when it comes to scrims and understanding of these teams, whether they've scrimmed each other, and they're learning every day. And it seems like Shroud X is putting that implementation in. But here's where they've always struggled. It's, can they push through the clutch moment, which is get this W right now. Don't let the momentum shift. Put your foot on the gas, press it all the way in, and just keep going. And that is where they've had that issue in the past. They've got to get it done now if they want to get this done.
Yeah, they got to get it done. We'll see if they can on the next map, on map number 3. Map point for Shroud X to get it done versus Nemesis. We're going to go to a short break. We'll see you guys for map number 3 in just a second.
Welcome back, as we just witnessed Shroud X take the second map here, and you know, this is a position they've been in. They've looked really good. They always get to these clutch moments, and they, you know, maybe take their foot off the gas. Let's see if they can press through and move forward, heading towards land.
Yeah, we'll see if they can do it, but you know, we just saw a reverse sweep, and we were talking about during the break. It's definitely possible. It's in the cards. You know, I don't want to jinx Shroud X or anything. And Nemesis is a strong team. You can't really let your foot off the gas, right? And if anything, I didn't expect, I think, on the opposite side for FlyQuest to do that, right? FlyQuest usually when they're in an advantage, they close out. They did not, right? Envy, you know, obviously we can talk about internet issues and stuff with Vest. That's obviously a problem, but regardless, they got reverse swept on today. Shroud X more so, I would say, than FlyQuest, or a team that kind of does that at times. You know, I feel like Shroud X is a good team, but they can sometimes maybe let up a little bit, maybe not be too aggressive, or maybe be too aggressive, right? They can let the potential nerves affect them, but who knows behind the scenes what's happening. And it's obviously they're a very strong team. We'll see if they can finally close out on Team Nemesis as a team that definitely is looking for a big rebound game. This would be it. It was a tough matchup in the upper bracket, man. So 100 Thieves, not a team to scoff at, and I think Nemesis, same thing down here.
I'm with you. I think it's Nemesis is a strong team. I'm with you that they could bounce back. They very well could change something up and shift composition, and things could definitely shift. But I will say, Shroud X, just as a unit, these plays are very consistent. They've been working together. They're always comboing ultimates, and they're making things happen. They're finding early picks. They have to keep going like this. They just can't take a step backwards. They're finding a ton of value with these weird compositions that maybe aren't as practiced against. They brought back an OG composition here with Hella, and they pulled out the Bucky, who had 16 finals, which obviously, you know, when you're using ultimate, it does guarantee the finals. If it does go through that threshold, despite who does the damage, it goes to Bucky. But he only pulled out Bucky at the very end there, so it goes to show you he was playing real strong prior as well. So we do head into game 3. Can Shroud X get this W, press through on Nemesis, or will Nemesis turn the tides and the momentum?
Torch ban again for Torch, or for Shroud X, as they're hovering it. Emma ban on the opposite side, and you know, I do understand the Emma Frost ban. She's been a strong hero regardless, but they've been protecting Mag anyways, right? Every time instead of Emma, so prioritization towards that Magneto, kind of similar to EMEA. Opposite side, Shroud X are totally fine also playing that Magneto, so definitely interesting. I wouldn't mind a total switch up of it. I know how strong that Emma Frost is, and you can just straight up lose because of it, right? That's the tough part with Emma Frost, is because, I mean, you play a lot of that hero ship, you can absolutely carry games on that character, right?
Yeah, for sure. And it's a big setup ultimate as well. You know, you can force in the meatballs to land more cleanly when you're using that psionic seduction. Obviously the tackle there, when you use that carbon crush, it's impactful on even flyers, man. You got that 5-meter dash, so you jump, then you transform and dash, and you try to find someone out of the sky. It's just a lot of burst damage there to follow up on. Emma is incredibly strong, and the placeable shield location as well.
And Shib, they're banning the Loki out. They're banning the Loki, so Nuck no longer going to play that hero.
Smart.
But honestly, that's kind of, I mean, it is smart, so? But it's also, well, it's smart, but it's tough because I think Shroud X is totally fine also playing, you know, Cloak and Dagger alongside Luna Snow. So, you know, they're totally fine also playing those two characters. And I want to see, in terms of Nemesis, I think a little bit more out of their backline in terms of when they play the Loki, right? I feel like their backline loves to play the Cloak and Dagger, likes to play Luna Snow. And if they do get that advantage, if they do get to play that Loki, I need to see a little bit more out of them. And I know that we don't really get a ton of support POV with a lot of strategist POV, so I don't want to fully blame or flame anyone. But I know Loki can be a hard character to position and play, so not everybody has that in their pocket.
Yeah, I Nuck last map, 46k healing, just about you know, like 9 more or so than the opposition, 9k more across the board. So most healing in the game. It did not find any final hits, like you mentioned, so maybe not as much of an offensive threat, but it's still doing almost 15k damage. So a ton of just raw stats when you're looking at Loki, and the ability to reset ultimates. So I think they just want to remove that just to try to find a couple more, you know, just more value with their Qs. They're just not finding nearly as much. Like we talked about Shroud X, these combination ultimates are just getting a ton of work done. So they're just changing something up. I don't mind it, because I think they need to shift something.
And they're talking about it, and I wonder, because they don't really play the Loki anyways, this Nemesis squad, all that much. I mean, they do play it, right? We have seen them play it, but you know, maybe it's also just, hey, let's get that mirror, let's get that Luna Snow Cloak and Dagger mirror. Even though we're not going to play the Loki ourselves, we're totally fine just getting that mirror finally, and that could push them over the top. So I don't mind that answer, that solution to this. But we're going to Clintar. Nemesis actually not bad on this map as well, right? They have a pretty good win rate on Clintar in general. So it's a good map for them. Now, oh my God, look at the chat predictions. It's gone, it's flipped. And like Nemesis was 73% chance to win or something, or at least 73% of chat favored to win, and now it's dropped all the way to 41%. So, you know, we can see the recency bias in your guys' chat predictions. That's all I'm saying, dude.
Yeah, we're no stranger to that as well. Such an early setup here for Rivals in general in terms of the pro scene. We're still learning so much about these teams. Everyone obviously talking growing fan bases, understanding metas. Things are changing still, even weekly. Yeah. Oh, we might see a counter portal here. I like this plan a lot. Floating, well done there. They're going to try to maybe be tricky. Oh, and force the team to walk over an opening. This could be insane. I'm excited to see how this looks as we begin the teleport here. Ah, great positioning off in the off angle. Still able to escape. Good jump up again, and well played, putting it on the left side.
There's a little bit of tricky stuff, like you mentioned, shit they have to deal with. They also portal block that doorway so they can set up their dive. Mellow, though, gonna have to deal with Doom on the right side as we have that mirror between them. The only difference here, Punisher versus that Hela, so we'll see how that matchup pans out over the course of the series.
Yeah, I like this swap here a lot, holding high ground, forcing them backwards. You just can't be afraid to give up some ticks here. If you're on the side of Shroud X, know that that portal was worth and try to find value and try to get a pick early like that as Doom takes out a Midian. Now it's back in your favor. You can play a little more aggressive, press back in, try to take that height back as we will see them scooch forward, looking directly on the strat line. Dogman walking in directly onto Ricky. Dinks trying to keep, they're just doing a little support dance there back and forth, but Doom's got to get in there and put a ton of damage out. Now rotating over, Vision trying to do the same thing off the left side, trying to get a couple more picks and stagger the team, and that is how you do it. Dongman on to Dinks now. Down goes Craze, and that is a great play and way to be very patient and not panic or overcommit in that fight.
Yeah, big opening picks there from Shroud X, able to take down Amadian. Doomed takes him out on the high ground. Amadian kind of left alone there, wasn't able to crow back to his team, and they didn't get up a tick like you said, so good situation to be in right now for Shroud X. We'll see if they can keep it up. I think Team Nemesis, maybe have learned a little bit potentially to set up Amadian. Maybe Amadian's going to crow back to his team a little bit faster. Also, Crowns over to that Captain America, so they want to go for those dives. However, they will be against Stratus Ultimates, so probably not a lot of exact eliminations going to be able to get found until these Stratus Ultimates run out.
And it begins again. Impunity early on, and Mellow. Once again, these early picks are detrimental. Dongman with a mean all onto the back line. Good bubble there. Looking for Luna. Not able to go. Ooh, I lied. Down goes 3 with a mean eye. Make that 4. And again, not overcommitting ult, only using 1. Shroud X holding on to 5 for this next fight. Wow.
Man, this has been brutal. I mean, Mello getting picked, then the bubble play, Eye of Agamotto. I mean, they're kind of cleaning it up right now. Nemesis, it's a little bit worrisome at this point now. 2 minutes left on the clock, and feels like they're getting engaged upon so much. I wonder, what the internal dialogue is right now, because they need the rebound. 1 minute and 30 seconds left to go, and they have ultimates, so this is totally a winnable fight.
Yeah, it's evened out here. Should be actually in the favor of Nemesis, who did not commit any ult in the last fight. Good play there, knowing they were down a number. You just don't want to waste it, so you need to make your fights. Oh, what a pick there from Mello. Milliseconds of reaction time, not able to get away there. Mello finding one early. Here comes the bond just to slow it down, forcing the team to hold on, and we're going to see Q's pop for days here. It's all about who can push through each other. Vision getting some protection, using that. Oh, final the judgment's out. Does it land onto somebody? Up goes Hela. Will they pressure the Hela out of the sky? Yes, they do. And Impunity tries to get the land there. The Meteor not able to do so. Back onto the back line again. And here comes the bond right back.
And trying to disengage, not resulted in any eliminations on the Shroud X. Visions is going to go down, though, and then also Dongman. So finally, they've broken through this checkpoint as 45 seconds were left on the clock. And there's going to be some delay coming through from Doomed onto the back line, and he's going to get stunned out by Amadian. Nemesis will finally get into the streets phase, in the middle phase, rather, of the map with 3 minutes on the clock.
Yeah, well played. Good focus and way to commit together, using every ult and they had in that fight. Doomed and Dongman not able to get much value, not able to use their Qs there. But yeah, I mean, that was a great hold, holding them down 3 minutes here. They are taking the positioning on height, as you should, Mello. We're getting ready for that flank, but now we do have a change of composition where we're going to see that Hulk Namor from Vision.
2 minutes and 40 seconds. No ultimates yet for Nemesis as well. Shroud X could definitely go in with some early ultimates. No greens on the opposite side. So if you have some support from the Dance of the Butterfly, you can find those eliminations. But a big bubble keeps them alive. Also, everybody else playing into that dagger, the Storm Dagger. I mean, that just helps them out so much on the side of Team Nemesis. Although Kraz does fall to Impunity, who chased down that Captain America on the side.
Yeah, already taking this first corner. Now we see Shroud X retaking the positioning. They're not even going to have height here. Team Nemesis down a number, forcing them back. It's all about just trying to get the neutral, try to get a pick early, and then we'll see if they collapse with ultimates after that.
Walking over to the backside, left side of the map. Nemesis going for that long rotate, just trying to control that high ground to set up Amadian on the Hela, just trying to find those pickoffs as well as Shroud X still kind of set up on their flanks. And again, I mean, Mello falls so early. This has been brutal, kind of a recurring theme from Nemesis, even though they have ultimates.
Dongman Strange getting a ton of early picks in these games, and that's just impactful. I'll also show you that Strange is still very much in the meta. We've seen a ton of him in this tournament. Has that eye ready to make a play again on the defense, but this is a tight space. This is what I'm talking about. If you use that jump, if you use that shift on Strange in a building that does have a roof over your head, you actually propel forward. It's very difficult to cancel, and he didn't hit the ceiling. Unfortunately, it was a little bit outside, but that was an insane freeze there. Canadian going to find Dongman right after that, and we're going to try to battle back here as Nemesis goes up. Scatter looking towards the back line, does manage to take out Nuck. Fidel goes down too. Nemesis with insane plays here are now shoving on in as they head towards the end of point 2. The teleport will come through on the high side.
Yep, big rotate, and you called it out, Ricky, with a huge freeze onto that Eye of Agamotto, shutting down Dongman, who's been so impactful for Shroud X. They also have ultimates ready to go, so snowball potential is here for Team Nemesis as we enter another fight for Shroud X. They do have that whale ready to go as well, so they can find those eliminations even through Shredder's ultimates with the damage boost from Fidel.
And the fight begins. Nemesis heavily favored in terms of ult advantage. Dink's ready. Ricky ready to have some counter. Will they be able to get value through it? Mello gonna pop the ult. Does it land? The butterfly, no. Does not find much. Sweeping out. Oh, Vision immediately onto Dink. That is a huge pick. Down goes one. And that's a good block here by Dongman. Putting a ton of damage out just to stuff down. The Hella goes down again. Vision, good positioning. Now getting go by Cap. Gonna put those turrets out shortly. Using the squids to keep Cap at bay. Doomed gonna find Ricky. Wow. Heavily underfavored in the fight. Doom gets 2. Fidel onto a Madian. What a play and what a hold here by Shroud X as they get the final fight. Can they teleport back, or does this end here on point 2?
Looks like I think they do have that portal back, like you mentioned, but 5 seconds, 4 seconds, the Cap's gonna have to touch.
I don't know if they can. Cap has to touch.
Oh,
wow.
No. They hunted him down. I mean, tough situation to be in general, right? The whole thing kind of started at the very beginning when Mello goes in for that Dance of the Butterflies. Shroud X are looking for that ultimate. They want to react with that Fate of the Worlds, and then they come back through. Damage boost there. Namor, he drops out that whale and finds Dinks. And then after that fight, Kraz was just trying to hide in the background, but we saw on the opposite side, Doom chased him down. Impunity chased him down. So it's not like he could really touch anyway. So just an awkward situation to be in as everybody else was pushed away and scared off the point from the front line of Shroud X.
Yeah, that is, you're right. It's so hard to see as an observer how difficult that decision was. I'm sure their communication was, no, you need to touch. I need you to touch. Like, I'm not going to get the teleport in, but at that point was already playing from the KO, wanted to escape and ran away from 2 and ran deep into point 3 there just to escape, but was not able to turn it around fast enough and was like 20 meters off, and the portal just wasn't able to get through. So such a difficult thing to see as an observer. You can't understand what was going on in the communication there, but yeah, I just think it was an understanding of thinking that the teleport was going to come through and then he could follow up after, and finding out it wasn't going to, and then panic running back and not getting there in time.
And I know you talk about a lot about the Shiv for like new players starting out to the game and stuff. You don't want to, if one of your teammates is telling you to touch the cart and stuff, it's a matter of, you know, or if you're telling somebody else to touch the cart, sometimes they can't. So it's a matter of, you know, understanding the situation they're in, as long as you're not panicking the comms, especially in a high pressure situation like this, a $3 million tournament. Imagine those comms, imagine what they are at the current moment where, you know, touch, and then, you know, you start whining or something, you know, the vibes can get really bad or really fast. So it's all about staying positive, you know, understanding the overall macro of your team environment and the feelings that are kind of going around the board, because right now Team Nemesis backs against the wall. They only got 128 meters, but it's still doable right now if they can stay strong mentally.
Yeah, and here comes the retake. Nemesis, you're right. Just got to stay positive. Got to believe that they can get it done. Their back's against the wall. Lands is skipping away, you know, running away from them. They're getting nervous. You just got to stay in it. Stay in the game. It's moment by moment. Don't think forward. Don't think about anything besides pulling through right now, as we see for Nemesis. Now just trying to play for the life. Shroud X, great positioning here. Keeping that composition, feeling confident with it. With impunity over there on hold. Saw a ton of value already on map 1. And Envision killing it and getting MVP on Namor. And here we go, Nuck already having that all. Goes to show you how fast Cloak can get it as your team dances inside of that dagger storm, and he gets healed up. Oh, what a good timing there for the dance floor. 1 HP at the back line there for Ricky, and does escape. A Mating gonna clean up Nuck there, finding no value with the press in early from that ult, as Mello is gonna now find some value. Ricky and Scatter cleaning up the rest, as Shroud X is gonna have to retake.
Yeah, and you know what? Sometimes it can get dicey there too, because you know on Loki you have to look at the target to get that copy. Sometimes you get body blocked by a Vanguard in the opposite team trying to make sure you don't get a good copy off. So that can be a tough situation to be in, but able to get that copy, get that ultimate like you said, Shib, and now going into this next fight, pretty even in terms of ultimates. Whale going to be up for Mello, and it's looking a lot better for Team Nemesis. They nearly have 2 minutes off the clock already.
For Pokey players, a little tip. There is a confirm copy in settings where if you left click, it will confirm whoever's on your little screen. It'll show you who you roughly looked at, and your right click will deny in case you're in trouble, just to kind of help out with that. And, you know, at the pro level, they may not need it. They want more speed, but it is definitely helpful as you're climbing ladder. Mello onto Nuck early again with this fight with a nice flank there. Really smart play. That's the meanest I've ever seen. Down goes 3. Dongmin cleaning up. Well done by Dongmin as they're walking in now. The flank got not going to get a ton of value unless it finds vision. Up goes Scatter trying to get a dunk. Will it land? The meteor does not. Doom takes out Scatter, and looks like Shroud X should be able to take this unless the portal comes in quickly.
I mean, they're trying for it. AMER running towards this point. They will get it off, it looks like, but can they get through in time? It looks like they do.
Wow. Just millimeters there on that point. Doom still going to find an early pick, trying to look for more, as it's just going to be a fall at this point. Impunity onto Craze. Now it's about, can they clean up with ultimates out? Ricky holding onto the dance floor. Should be done now. Impunity still in Hulk, just smacking away at the back line. Dongmin onto Mello. Down goes another. Doom finding value, and they will have ult advantage as they clean up and get this point moving.
Yeah, huge point take there from Shroud X and Team Nemesis. I mean, they put up a good fight there, but this was similar to Shroud X on their defense, right? Nemesis took until about 3 minutes left on the clock in the streets, in the middle phase of the map, and Nemesis were able to push on through. But for Shroud X right now, they definitely have a little momentum on their side. They're also switching visions, or they have visions over to that Namor. So we do have whales on both sides available. However, the Hela on the opposite side instead of the Psylocke, which this is actually a very good round in the middle phase of the map for Psylocke. So I'm curious to see kind of how it pans out.
What an exile there. And the craziest thing, history repeating itself. This is exactly where the point was held the last time between these two teams. It was just a battle back and forth. And like we said, Nemesis actually coming through and winning that whole series. And Madian finds Fidel there early, still getting that early push on point. Dongmin, oh, it does get the ult off. Finds a ton as they clean it up. Dinks goes down. Ricky goes down. Crystal's out too. Team keeping the pressure on Madian. Very low. Doom takes out a Madian. Doom done to Mello as they walk this in. Just the Hulk left. Can they get this W? 3-0 sweep. Shroud X said, I did not want to disappoint you, Shroud, and they did not as they clean up the series.
Dongmin, put some respect on his name. It's Dongmin, because that man just gets the biggest ultimates known to mankind. 3, 4, 5, doesn't matter. Eye of Agamotto's connect flush for that man. 3-0 for that team, for Shroud X in a huge game. I mean, I kind of honestly hate to say it, Shib. I told you, I kind of predicted 3-2 Shroud X as a bit, to be honest, because I'm I don't know. I have not predicted a single game well. Doesn't matter. Shroud X just 3-0's Nemesis, a team that should have, had a good chance in this series, but it turns out it was a 3-0, man. Just what a great series out of Shroud X, and I'm sure the big boss upstairs, not that he's dead or anything, but I'm sure Shroud is proud of Shroud X because they played so well, man.
I mean, you can't not show love to Dongmin. It was some of the biggest back-to-back huge Eye of Agamotto team wiping eyes that just KO'd everyone. 24-3, 10 finals, but it's not about the finals because he was allowing his team to clean up from that ultimate. Dooms with 12, so well played. Vision, they ran the composition that I think is a little bit slept on now with that Hulk Namor. What a game. And Shroud X showing that they can show up in these clutch moments, not allowing a single map through.
I mean, what a series. I'm curious to see how Shroud X moving forward, because I mean, they almost won the series with the 100 Thieves. They didn't, obviously, but that's a big deal for this team to just win 3-0 over Team Nemesis. And there's a lot of slots over here in North America, right? 3 slots to qualify for that LAN, although they do have to win 2 more games to then qualify, so it's going to be a tough journey. But Shroud X, I mean, they could potentially avenge themselves in the next round versus somebody who's dropping down from the upper bracket. So I'm really excited to see how Shroud X perform moving forward, and this lower brackets is definitely getting really interesting as Shroud X are the team to progress over Team Nemesis.
Yeah, I think they've found their footing, at least so far. They've got to keep the momentum forward, right? I mean, they are on the bottom side bracket. They got to get another dub here to press forward and head towards LAN, and then obviously the prize, which is looming now. It's now ever more, present. It's something that you're thinking about. You just got to take it game by game, keep the pressure on. They're showing now how good of a team they can be together. It looked clinical over these 3 games.
Yeah, clinical indeed, and you can see it through their gameplay. I mean, Vision's doing a fantastic job. Doomed also figuring out his role on that Psylocke, and you know, it's a feel-good story for them, but also unfortunate for Nemesis now, who is eliminated from the tournament. They're out of the Ignite series, going to have to go back into the next stage, you know, figure out some things. Dongmin, easy MVP, I think, for both of us, Shib, and throughout the whole series, everybody kind of stepped up, though, from Shroud X. I think we're both impressed with the overall team play that has been always in question when we talked about Shroud X.
Yeah, individual performance always high. We always mention this, but they just need to see them come together as a unit, and they looked so well practiced there. Whatever they've been doing offline, whoever they've been scrimming, it's been working, and they looked so coordinated. A ton of combination ultimates, finding out, like, it seemed like a well-oiled machine. Whenever an ult was big, there was always someone to follow up, whether he was frozen. We saw Dama get frozen after that game-winning ultimate at the end there, and immediately sweep through Doomed with a two-piece there on Psylocke, just ready for action. It was just so well played. The team figured it out together.
Yeah, that was crazy. I mean, I thought that got canceled, and then, you know, there were some huge freezes from their backline in general. Like, that was so many times. I think, was it Fidel just connecting with the freeze, just making sure they shut down some ultimates. But, you know, if you're relying on huge Luna Snow freezes to get a win, a lot of times that's not enough, right? We talked about, like you mentioned, how this game, you know, it's a mechanically skillful game, don't get me wrong, but the macro, the team play, that's really what matters most, I think, for every single team, and Shroud X definitely proving it today, that they have a very coordinated team, and I like that they didn't do it as well, playing a lot of that, you know, triple res compositions. They switched away from that. They were, you know, playing that Namor, playing the Hulk, and I think that's where we're heading right now, Shib. It does feel like Namor and Hulk are specifically Hulk just has like a mainstay in the meta, but we have an interview, I believe, yet again with Dongmin, the K-pop enjoyer himself. I believe he's here, and the MVP from that last map. How you doing, Dongmin? Congrats on the win, dude. Huge eye of Akamoto's. We saw all of those bad boys on stream, dude.
Thank you.
Yeah, how you feeling right now? You seem calm right now, man. Is it just another day in the office?
I mean, yeah, I am pretty calm. I got pretty mad at the loss last night versus Thieves, but I didn't want to lose to these guys even more. You guys always trash talk on Twitter, so I mean, they just got 5-man strange ulted every single time. So yeah, and they went outside as
that's how you get it, vengeance, man, right? You show up in the moment, and you really did. You looked clean out there. There's the last two ults were disgusting. Sweeping team, your team followed up, and I think they were game winning, especially at the end. And I got to ask real quick, just in terms of understanding Strange, you know, we've been seeing Strange heavy back in the meta now. We saw some portal plays coming in that were pretty wild, and I saw the idea of you trying to shut down some portal plays too. You guys seemed really calm. What is it that changed as a team? Has it just been the revenge arc, or was it just a change in discussion with each other that you're starting to clutch up in these more intense moments?
We just started talking to each other way more, and yeah, I mean, it kind of changed the team environment. I used to like literally scream all the time in the comms, but today I was a little more calm. Turned my mic up a lot, and I guess that's what changed it a lot. Loki, that was my calm comms, and like I just focused more.
Yeah, we just saw one of your clean ults.
Yeah, you were talking about that. Like, I think it's a good point. I think you know, keeping it's weird, right? That it's tough, I think, for an individual to fully understand, I suppose, like your impact on the communication. Like, can you talk about that for sure? Like, I know, like, even your type of microphone can sometimes sound like annoying, right? If it depends, obviously, on who you are, but you know, sometimes you can like upset your teammates without realizing it, right? Do you think that, like you said, taking that step back and sort of relaxing a little bit, making sure like it feels like you've been there before? Like you said, I mean, what can you say on that impact for sure for your team and how they felt today?
I think I definitely do sometimes clutter the comms when I do overcom, because a lot of the times I'll like talk about like how sometimes I'll like what I want to do in the fights, and then other people are like, no, I want to do this, no, I want to do this. So I'll like this time around I just decided I'd like talk about like how I want to like use my ults and stuff, and then let everyone else like do more talking. I think that's like what changed a lot today too.
Love it. I mean, it looked fluid out there. We saw you guys running, you know, going away from triple a little bit in more, you know, common compositions and running this Hulk Namor, which I think obviously clearly is very strong still. Is that something recent, or is that something you guys have always had in the bag?
I mean, we've always had a Namor on us. Vision is the best Namor in the game, in my opinion. So I think, but ever since the team up has swapped over to Hulk, we've been playing a lot more less, because Hulk is very counterable by a lot of heroes. But we've started seeing teams that are playing the Namor Hulk comp a lot, and we just thought might as well just try Vision out again, since he gaps all the other Namors.
Love it. Smart play, clearly worked out.
Yeah, and I mean, on that, I mean, you guys are, so it's still like you guys are flipping things last minute. I mean, the new patch, I think, has been definitely impactful for sure, but like it just feels like things are changing day in and day out. I mean, you guys were just playing triple res the other day and stuff, and now coming into this one, you've sort of swapped away from that. I mean, can you talk about, you know, I mean, obviously don't have to go too much into the strategy, but what is it like for you as that sort of mainstay onto the Doctor Strange and onto the Magneto to have to switch roles? I mean, is your role kind of consistent throughout, or does it change, you know, throughout the composition?
I mean, everyone, I've started to notice that. I mean, I don't think my mag is bad, but I do miss my ults a lot, as everyone would see. Everyone would trash talk the Magneto ults, and Doctor Strange is like a more comfort pick when it comes to me, since I've been playing that since the alpha and the beta. So, but we do play Strange and Mag really well around those two heroes.
Yeah, I think you guys did a great job in the banning phase as well. Real quick, if you have anyone, the last thing, it's been a pleasure talking to you as always. Anyone you want to shout out, any teams? I know you kind of give a little shout out there towards the side of Nemesis. Anyone you want to thank? Now's your time, brother.
I mean, shout out to my parents. I love my mom and dad, and I love all my teammates too. And yeah, oh, and Tommy, he know. You guys don't know him, but shout out Tommy. I love him.
Nice, man.
Shout out Tommy.
Love it. Shout out Tommy. Well, you mentioned you didn't want to let Shroud down, and you guys looked great out there. So really well played. And we'll be seeing you soon as you head towards LAN and that prize. It's been an absolute pleasure. Thank you again for dropping in, man. And yeah, see you soon.
Thank you. Have a good day.